You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Hello, world, family, and friends. Welcome to the E-Factor Radio Show. I'm your host, Cornelius Bryant. And today, before we get started, we just want to pause for a minute just to acknowledge and just to say that we're praying for all the people out here in Southern California and all around who's impacted by all the fires, and just thank all the first responders and all the people putting their life on the line to help others. Today we have our special guest, Charles Whitehead. And Charles is, you know what, Charles? You know what I'm going to do? Instead of me introducing you and doing all that stuff, I'm just going to kick it to you. And I want you to tell us about you and all the things you do. Because you do so many things. It's like, are you Jamaican?
Part Jamaican, man. I got 15 jobs, man.
Okay,
so
yeah. You have so many jobs. I say, you know what? Because I read this and all that
but
stuff.
I'm not really Jamaican, though.
Well, I don't know. I'm glad. Thank you for that disclosure. Okay. But I see here on your bio, you do so many interesting things. And you have a very impactful life from what I see. And so what I want to do, I just want to take time to give you this time. We don't have to be in a hurry or anything, so you can tell us about all these things. Don't miss anything. And just, I want the world to know just, about Charles Whitehead, the man.
Well, it's this is gonna take like 3 shows, but I'm just kidding. But anyway,
Well, we'll have to do another one if we can't finish today, but we got to get it finished, right?
Right. No, I'm first of all, I'm a very blessed man, and I thank God for I'm still here. All the things I've been through in my life. So, I mean, the list goes on, but what I have to talk about is, I'm a person that I'm a big veteran advocate. I'm a musician, a songwriter. I sit on boards of directors of several companies and things like that. And so, life for me is this, I'm actually enjoying life. I got sick about 5 years or so ago. It just, the list goes on, going to military in 1982. Before I made it home, I was in a head-on collision with a drunk driver. I almost died there. I survived. 1987, I had another accident. Went off of a 150-foot cliff. I survived that. And I've had all kinds of little things happen here and there. But, at the end of the day, I'm still here. I'm blessed, and so I always tell people, I say, I have a joy in my heart, and I will let no one take my joy away. And I've been blessed. I've been blessed with patience. That's the other thing. So, now here I am. I'm a big advocate for disabled people and disabled veterans and veterans in general. Just to start off, as a couple of things. I'm currently the president of the Paralyzed Veterans of America California chapter, which is in Long Beach, out of the Long Beach VA. And so, between that and being 29 years of Rancho Los Amigos employee, I went from being a patient to a volunteer to an employee, and I'm still doing what I do and enjoying life, and I teach songwriting classes. I'm a musician, and so we'll get into more of it. So in a nutshell, I'm just happy to be here. Thank you.
Well, you know what we have to do, because we know you went through that good. You gave like a little base for it and all that stuff. But it's very interesting because you said what year was it that you joined the military?
1981.
1981. If I remember correctly, that was right during the Gulf War and all that stuff.
No.
In 81, or what war was going on during that time period?
I don't think there was a war going on then.
No?
It may have been, but that was.
What year was Desert Storm?
I think that was the 90s.
That was the 90s. Okay, I'm just making sure.
So I can't
Okay.
give you the specifics, but
Okay.
So when I signed up out of high school, I signed up, but I didn't go to basic training until 1982.
Okay.
February of '82, I went to Fort Dix, New Jersey, and so coming from California going into New Jersey, it was cold, and I mean cold. It's like
Cold, cold.
cold, cold. And so, and then I went to Fort Belvoir, Virginia, to the Defense Mapping School, and so I graduated from there, and that's when I finished my training progress. And on my way home, I had a car accident, and it almost killed me. And
And
here I
you
am.
are. So you never did any served in any during wartime?
Never
anything
had
like
any
that?
wartime service.
Okay.
I was reserves, but I was there. A lot of people, and I found this interesting. A lot of guys who signed up like as reservists, once they finished with their basic training and all of that, they wouldn't show up, and so they would put them as inactive.
Oh.
And so, but I was there. As a matter of fact, when we traveled from, it just so happens that my reserve unit was in Long Beach at the time, and so when we traveled to like Camp Pendleton to San Diego, they had me driving trucks without a military license or anything. They had me doing paperwork because at the time, if you remember, I used to have a limousine service. They had me doing business stuff that I wasn't even qualified for, but I was doing it.
Well, don't tell people you were doing it because they'll say, "Uh-oh, is that what our military does? Use unqualified people?"
Well, it does. Absolutely. We know that now.
Okay.
But anyway, that's
But
a
you
whole
know what?
different-
I thank you for your service, for being a veteran. You know, it was only on a, like you say, a reserve manner. But I respect all veterans, and I thank all veterans for taking the time out of their lives and their families to protect us and to do the things that we need to do here safe at home and abroad. So I congratulate you on that. But your first accident was in 82.
1982.
1982. So, okay, you're doing whatever you're doing. You're coming home, or you going where you're going. You weren't going to a place you weren't supposed to be now, were you?
No.
Okay,
no.
all right, okay. We don't want you to go to death because you may spill some beans that everybody don't need to know here. And so you're
No, I was actually on my way. I was driving alone, and and I woke up in the hospital 2 days later. I don't remember anything about the accident.
but before the accident, you were wide awake.
I was wide awake,
Okay.
and I remember driving. I made a wrong turn, and then I got back, made a quick U, and then got back to heading in the right direction. And I woke up 2 days later.
Wow.
You know?
So during your incubation period or coma or unconsciousness, when you woke up, was it like you waking up and you going,
Exactly.
wait a minute.
That's exactly what it was.
Wait a minute. What's going on? What's going on?
That's exactly what it was. Because when I woke up, I remember there were some of my uncles and maybe my mother, and I forget exactly who it was, but they were like, "Hey, do you know what happened to you?" And I was like, "No," because I'm like, hey, I'm sitting here in the hospital. I have no idea. And so they kind of explained to me a little bit, but then I got to learn a little bit more about it as time went.
Right. So that's very traumatizing.
Well, to be honest, it was traumatizing in a way, but it really didn't hurt my mental spirit. And that's the part of me that I tell people I've been blessed with patience and understanding. And so in general, and I'll say this, I tell people all the time, in general, when I see somebody who's having, these kind of things, I guess it's maybe that's where my strength comes from, just being in these different accidents and all of these different crazy situations. I have a filter for, and it's kind of like people who are driving, and you saw somebody almost runs you off the road or whatever, and they have road rage. And I tell people, I said, "Why are you getting all upset with that?" I said, "You know it's going to happen, so I have that. I know it's going to happen, and when it happens, you just be prepared and say, okay, it's like, And so I try not to worry about things too much, and that's where a lot of people lose a lot of their joy, because they hamper on, to too much of what happened
Right,
here,
right.
So that's, and I try to live a different way.
Okay, so when I'm having a road rage, I'm gonna remember that next time. Wait, calm down, calm down. But in order for people to really understand what do you mean about this peace and all that, they have to know after you get through all this, what were your injuries? Because
Oh,
people will
okay.
say, "Oh, I
Right.
had an accident and my face got scratched up and cut," and so, "Oh, I'm at peace, I'm joyful, this and that." But in order to fully understand your perspective and see exactly what you mean by your peace and your joy, they have to understand
What
the
happened?
accident and what happened and what happened after the accident. So give us a little insight on that.
So, when I wake up and, and then my injuries were, I can tell you, so I had a ruptured spleen, so I had it removed, broken ribs, punctured lungs, a broken, my shoulder, my pelvis was broken, I had cuts on my neck, and, and that's the other thing, the cut, it was lucky that my neck wasn't cut and to where I bled to death, So,
Right.
and then scratches and nicks and a lot of abrasions and things on my head, and but and it took me, I couldn't even come home, you know. It took me a month and a half. I ended up staying with my aunt Renee. She, and then my aunts and uncles, they all kind
Uh-huh.
of took care of me while I was there, bless my aunt Renee and all of my uncles and aunts. I love my
Uh-huh.
family. I love the family, and so I couldn't walk, and so at the time I wasn't injured to the point where I couldn't walk. It's just I was so weak, I
Right.
couldn't get on an airplane to fly home, and so with all of those injuries, it took a lot out of me. I think I lost like 50 pounds in 2 or 3 weeks or something. So I
Oh,
went
okay.
from like I was at like 195 pounds and I went down to like 150 something. So,
Oh, okay. So you say after your injuries that you had to stay there because you were so weak you couldn't walk.
exactly.
Okay, so now this was month, 2 months later, something like that.
This was immediately after the accident. It
Okay.
was, I had to stay for at least, well, so I, if I get the timeline correct, I went to the hospital. It wasn't the VA. It was like the university, I believe, hospital in Little Rock, Arkansas, and then I went to the VA in Little Rock to do a little rehab.
Uh-huh.
But I had to stay with my aunt, and I had bandages that had to be changed 2 or 3 times on my neck and things like that. So.
Okay, so now you get past all of that and you get ready to come home. So as a result of your accident, you say you had your spleen and all these different things done. So what was the aftermath of having your spleen and all that stuff redone? And give us how that affected you then, but yet still today. Because if you guys can't see it, you know, he's in a wheelchair. And so we want to just do a little insight on that part of it because this is all going to play a role later in some other things we're going to talk about.
Right. Well, the wheelchair stuff, that was a separate accident. So
Okay.
that's part two.
Okay, so
You know.
we just want to get all these parts.
Okay.
We want to make sure we get it
Right.
right.
Right. Correct.
Okay.
So I had the accident. And I did rehab. I got myself together finally after a month and a half or two
Uh-huh.
or whatever it was. So I come back home to California. I'm home 3 days, and I go into the hospital with pneumonia for 10 days. So the Long Beach VA. I spent 10 days at the Long Beach VA with pneumonia, and once I got healed from that, then I had to. I was being seen as an outpatient, and so the cuts on my neck when they healed, there was scar tissue in here, so I had to go and I had an outpatient surgery where they just took the scar tissue out and they stitched my neck up, and so it was a little bit, I was leaning to the right just a tad bit, and over time, it just got better.
Uh-huh.
But and so what I still deal with now is because I lost my spleen, and the spleen is like the organ that kind of helps fight infections and things like that.
Right.
I have to take shots. I have to still, to this day, I'm still taking shots to, like some people are against taking the flu shot and this and that and all. Me, bring it on, because that's part of my whole, being able to continue to live, 'cause,
Right. So it's almost like a lifeline for you.
exactly, so
Uh-huh.
I don't hesitate to get the flu shot, and and I don't care about politics or anything. Flu shot, COVID, whatever. What's the other ones? You get the shingles. I get everything that I need because these things. My body has been through a lot, and that's why I say. I mean, even today, here I am. I'm still doing it.
Right. Okay, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna take a break and we're gonna pick that up on the other side of this break. So don't forget what you said. Still doing it.
All right.
All right.
KCAA Radio has openings for 1-hour talk shows. If you want to host a radio show, now is the time. Make KCAA your flagship station. Our rates are affordable and our services are second to none. We broadcast to a population of 5 million people. Plus, we stream and podcast on all major online audio and video systems. If you've been thinking about broadcasting a weekly radio program on Real Radio plus the internet, contact our CEO at 281-599-9800. 281-599-9800. You can Skype your show from your home to our Redlands, California studio where our live producers and engineers are ready to work with you personally. A radio program on KCAA is the perfect work from home avocation in these stressful times. Just type kcaaradio.com into your browser to learn more about hosting a show on the best station in the nation or call our CEO for details. 281-599-9800.
And now, the voices of KCAA with an exciting announcement.
Want to hear NBC News or KCAA anywhere you go? Well, now there's an app for that.
KCAA is celebrating 25 years and our silver anniversary with a brand new app.
The new KCAA app is now available on your smart device, cell phone, in your car, or any place.
Just search KCAA on Google Play or in the Apple Store.
One touch and you can listen on your car radio, Bluetooth device, Android Auto, or Apple CarPlay.
Catch the KCAA buzz in your earbuds or on the streets, celebrating 25 years of talk, news, and excellence with our new KCAA app.
Just do it and download it.
KCAA, celebrating 25 years.
All right. Welcome back to the E Factor Radio Show with our special guest, Charles. So when we left off, you were telling us what? What were you saying?
I'm still doing it.
Still doing it. Okay, so now we get past all these other things. We get past the accident. So now you had 2 car accidents.
Well, yeah. So the second
right.
accident was in 1987. So that was a 150-foot cliff. I was I call it bad breaks.
Yeah.
And here I am. I mean, at this time, the injuries weren't as severe, but I ended up, with spinal cord injury, paralyzed from my T1112 spine, and so, of course, now I can't walk. But
Okay.
The funny thing about it is, and I tell people, I said, even when I was in the emergency room, I was cracking jokes with the doctor.
Huh. Despite not being able to.
Right.
Okay.
And people say, man, you crazy. Okay, you call me what you want to, but I'm still here.
Right. And so, after going through all the things you went through the first time, then the pneumonia and all that. So now accident 2. And when you wake up, how did you, at what point did you realize
I was never unconscious.
Oh.
So I was never really unconscious. I got tossed around and all of that, but I knew, I was laying on the ground and I thought maybe I had, my legs were, it just felt funny. And that's when I realized I couldn't move my legs, and so.
So wow, at that point, what were you thinking? If you can remember.
Well,
if it's too late, but if it's too dramatic, we don't have to go into.
Well, it's not. I mean, without really going into details, I just realized that, I can't walk, and so I had, so the rescue people came and they took care of me, and it still didn't get the. I guess it just wasn't that impactful on me, because like I say, I was in the hospital, kind of joking around with the doctors, and so then it went from the emergency room to I went to a hospital for 2 weeks, and I was transferred to another one to have surgery where I had the spine rod, stainless steel rod inserted in my spine to support my spine. And of course, then the doctors were telling me, well, with your injury, you'll never walk again. And I said, okay, well, I'm like, I didn't get down or out or anything like that. And I think, especially when things happen to me, more people who are around me tend to get, they get more mad. I have people who get mad when I tell them that, how the doctors will say,
right,
oh, you'll never walk again. Those doctors don't know, they're not God, and which is true. But, at the same time, you have to kind of understand what the whole impact of your injury does. It does affect the people that are around you.
Right, because I think if it was me, once I woke up, my mindset probably been, oh, well, this is temporary. I'm just, like when you get knocked out and you're in a daze and, you're not fully conscious, aware of what's going on, and be like, but then as time went on and you're like, wow, this is real. This is real. Even though like you say you stay positive, you don't panic, but in your mind, you're thinking, wow, this seemed like a nightmare. Or you go to sleep and you wake up and you think, oh, it was just like a dream, and you wake up and it's still there. So how long did it take you to really process? I mean, we know it was an immediate process, but how long did it take you to fully process it to where, like you say, everybody around you, they're panicking and they're mad? Because it sounded like to me that you almost have to turn into a comforter at that time.
Well,
so once you process that, and how long did that take?
It didn't take long, really, because even when once I got to the hospital, so I went from the, I spent 2.5 weeks in the hospital, and then I had the surgery, and then it was 8 hours of surgery, and once I left there, I went to the rehab place, and of course, you kind of ask yourself, well, why me, but not. It wasn't a why me, I'm singing the blues, anything like that. It was just why, you ask yourself why this happened. And then, it's like, okay, well, I know it happened, but now let's move on. It's like,
right.
Because I'm like, okay, I'm still here. I still have my sense of humor. I still have I'm able to think and do things. And of course, that's life change. It was a life-changing thing because now I'm over here at this rehab facility, Rancho Los Amigos, and so you're seeing people who are having the same or worse injuries, and that's the thing. Being at Rancho Los Amigos, I saw people who were way worse off than I was. So, my appreciation for what I have is like, okay, it could be worse because I have friends. And just co-workers and people who are like that I work with now, being part of that system, because what I did was I was a patient there, and then at the time, if you remember, I used to have a limousine service, and so I was sitting in my bed, with the help of my sister Gina, still booking jobs, and now I got doctors and nurses and therapists, people whose kids are going to the proms. I'm over here doing, I'm working from a hospital, and so it's like, okay, and I had a style. Even my nurses used to laugh at me because I would be like, I would have my own clothes and I would have an iron. Bring me an iron. I don't want to ride around looking with wrinkled clothes in the hospital. It's like so they laughed at me about that. But so what?
Okay, no, that's good because when you were saying you're still this or you're still that, I thought you were gonna say, and I'm still good looking. And I'm glad you didn't, because I'd hate to break it to you.
Yeah, well,
but I'm sure people think that too. But that's good.
I'll
stay confident. Whatever you do, stay confident. All right. And so now you're doing all this, and you're ironing your clothes up because and you're in the hospital. You're still working. You're still functioning.
Yes.
And the amazing thing about that, because you say you saw people in worse shape than you, and a lot of times we're so busy feeling sorry for ourselves that we don't see anything else. Oh, why did this happen to me? Why me? Why me? I'm a good person. Johnny, he's always doing stuff. Why didn't it happen to him? He deserves stuff like this. But that's important that you stay positive while you're doing it. And the thing that you're doing is you're encouraging people around you. And I think that's what's important. Like I've said many times, a lot of times you don't see who you help, but people look at you. That's why I think it's so important, no matter what it is we do, that we carry ourselves in a certain way, because somebody's looking at us where it can help them or hurt them. So now you're doing all these things and people are looking at you, like you say, you have the nurses laughing and your sense of humor and everything's good. And so everybody's around you is saying, okay, well, now we don't take it as bad for him. Like you said, people get mad for you as you weren't mad because you're appreciative of what you do have and you make the best of it. And so that's really important. So now we've gotten through all this, we've gotten through this stuff, and now you said you're at Ranchos Los Amigos Hospital and you're doing these things. So give us your Rancho Los Amigos story.
Okay, so I go to Rancho. I'm a patient there, and I have they have a great staff, a great therapist and
the food?
doctor. The food is like, it's county food, so I don't care what.
Okay.
I've never been to a hospital that had good food. Sorry.
Okay, that's good. That's why you stay healthy. Okay,
exactly.
all right.
So anyway,
but
but that's the truth. So anyway, and I used to have people bring me food too, or so I'm there, and so then I started playing wheelchair basketball, so that was kind of like, oh, okay, that was one of the things I did, with the rehab, and my therapist, I don't know if I won't say her name, but we're good friends to this day.
You've already told us that the military had you driving without a license.
Right.
You already told us that people sneaking food into you. You're not. Don't throw nobody else under the bus.
but yeah, that's true. But so even my therapist was like, she was like, so they have a system at Rancho. They teach you how to, get in and out of your, these things are done in the steps.
Right.
So they teach you how to use your wheelchair. They teach you how to transfer in and out. And so there's a process. Well, once I learned it, I was like, well, I know how to get in and out of the bed. And so at lunchtimes, my therapist would come around and because the routine was, they get you out of bed in the morning and they won't put you back in the bed until later on, like to the evening when it's. But at lunchtime, she'll come around and she'll be like, hey, what are you doing in your bed? I have my clothes on. I said, hey, I'm over here, I'm like taking who helped you in the bed? I said, I helped myself. Charles, you're not supposed to do that. I'm like, hey, so she would get on my case about that. And then I'd be riding around popping wheelies and they would all be scared. It's like, so, I was a little rogue, but it's like, hey, this is, hey, let me enjoy me like I'm, it's like, so that was fun. But, that process, took a little while. I think back then we were in the hospital for like 3.5 months or so, so now you're in and out, like myself, 2 weeks tops, I think, or something like that. So there's more outpatient work
resources.
Yes.
So in other words, you're saying that because what you did, your rogueness, that was ruining for everybody else. That's what they got to get in and get out.
You can call it what you want.
I'm asking. I'm just asking the question. Is that
well,
what it was?
there were people who were doing, and this is real too. When I was in the hospital, and I know several people who committed suicide because they could not handle what happened to them.
Right.
And so that's the real thing. So I laugh and joke about it, but when I see people who are having real troubles, that's real, and that's something that really needs to continue to be keep attention on.
Right.
Especially when you talk about. And we'll get to the veteran part later on.
Right. We are because we're slowly walking that way. So we're just walking that way because we're just going through this little history of you.
Yeah.
Because here you are, and so now you're a patient there. And so after they finally got tired of you and put you out because of your rogue activities, you went back and annoyed them even more because you became a volunteer there, right?
Right. Well, they didn't put me out really, you know. It's
I'm just saying,
I
but
know,
yeah,
I know.
but
But
I
I
don't
wasn't
know.
really. But I was. But you know, when I graduated, you know, once I
Right.
once I got done,
Uh-huh.
you know, so it was. I went back and you know, just learning a lot, learning the whole process of dealing with life, you know.
Right.
You know, just dealing with the whole wheelchair, and so wheelchair sports came about.
Wheelchair sports.
Yes.
So you
I
were
played-
an athlete.
I played basketball for wheelchair
Okay.
and we had little football things going like that too, with Rancho Los Amigos. And then after so many years, I left that team and went to another one and another one, and so.
So you're telling us that you were like a LeBron James. You just went to every
see.
team and made it better.
Oh.
I don't know. I
said,
tell you what we
nah.
go. Okay, wait. We're gonna pick that up on the other side of this commercial. We'll be back in a few minutes to talk about Charles Bronny.
KCAA Radio has openings for 1-hour talk shows. If you want to host a radio show, now is the time. Make KCAA your flagship station. Our rates are affordable and our services are second to none. We broadcast to a population of 5 million people. Plus, we stream and podcast on all major online audio and video systems. If you've been thinking about broadcasting a weekly radio program on Real Radio plus the internet, contact our CEO at 281-599-9800. 281-599-9800. You can Skype your show from your home to our Redlands, California studio where our live producers and engineers are ready to work with you personally. A radio program on KCAA is the perfect work from home avocation in these stressful times. Just type kcaaradio.com into your browser to learn more about hosting a show on the best station in the nation or call our CEO for details. 281-599-9800.
And now, the voices of KCAA with an exciting announcement.
Want to hear NBC News or KCAA anywhere you go? Well, now there's an app for that.
KCAA is celebrating 25 years and our silver anniversary with a brand new app.
The new KCAA app is now available on your smart device, cell phone, in your car, or any place.
Just search KCAA on Google Play or in the Apple Store.
One touch and you can listen on your car radio, Bluetooth device, Android Auto, or Apple CarPlay.
Catch the KCAA buzz in your earbuds or on the streets, celebrating 25 years of talk, news, and excellence with our new KCAA app.
Just do it and download it.
KCAA, celebrating 25 years.
Okay. Welcome back to the E Factor. Your host Cornelius with our special guest, Charles Whitehead Bronny.
No.
Okay. But you know what? You're right. I'm sorry for saying Bronny, because during that era, he wasn't even around. So you were around during the Jordan era. It's Whitehead, Jordan, or tell
Magic.
me the story.
So I was around during the Magic era.
Okay. All right.
And so
Get me straight. Straighten me out.
So if you remember that part, I used to do limousine service, and just before I got hurt in '87, I picked up a contract with the United Negro College Fund, and so I was taking Magic Johnson to his. As a matter of fact, you were part of that whole thing. So he used to have this Midsummer Night's Magic, this summer game with all the different people would come and different athletes, different NBA players and all. And so I used to personally go pick him up at his house, take him to the game. Every year I was doing that. And then I would have like other limousine services and things like that helping me. And as I remember, didn't you pick up Spud Webb?
Well, if I did, it wasn't memorable.
Yeah.
But anyway.
You know, so anyway, you know, just that part. So I kind of got, you know, through all of that. And, you know, over the years I've done a lot, you know, had limousine service and did a lot of things with that. And you know, in the late 90s, or actually it was around in the 2000s, I got involved with music. And so in 2007, I started writing, songs, and so to this day, I'm continuing to write songs, and I teach people at the Rancho Los Amigos as well with the center. I teach songwriting.
And therapeutic, so, sort of. Like,
it's therapeutic,
right?
yeah. And it's,
okay.
From A to Z. It's like how to, and we start with beats, we start with lyrics, we do, the whole thing. And so it's very, for me, I love it. I love doing it, and I want to see, it's like, so I have a core of people that we're in the class. They come in and they're writing their own things, and so that's great. And and now. Just to not harp on so much of that, I've gotten involved with the veterans through wheelchair basketball. Some 20 years ago, I became a member with the Paralyzed Vets of America.
Right.
And I was never really active until the last 4 or 5 years or so. I got involved, and I was appointed by the president then of our chapter, and then I had to run for re-election, because it was a short term. It wasn't full term. I ran for re-election. I got re-elected to the board, and then our vice president was he had a health issue, and so he stepped down, and then I was elevated to vice president. And just this past June, we had a re-elections, and we had our elections, and I ran for president, and so now I'm the president.
Did you win?
I did.
Okay, all right. It was a real election, right?
It was a real election.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'm just asking.
And so I won, and so now I'm the president of the Paralyzed Vets California chapter in Long Beach, and so my goal now is to get this chapter more involved with the community. I'm big on community because I've been a commissioner in the city of Long Beach for the last 8 years. I just turned out, so I was the chairman of that commission.
Oh.
I sit on the board of directors for like 4 or 5, like a credit union, and 4 or 5 other nonprofits, and so I have a lot of experience with knowing how businesses run and things like that. And so the goal is to get this chapter to moving. And I know there are like PVA, we call them PVA, Paralyzed Vets of America. There's a national office. And so our goal is to get things together and be my thing is a big collaboration of veterans. So I'm a veteran myself, and I have a lot of veteran friends. I mean, I have people that I've played wheelchair basketball with who are gold medal winners, who are Paralympians, who are in the world. I mean, not just basketball, but I have friends who are just done other sports. And so over the years, and being in the business of the movie business, I've done commercials, I've done films, I've done like a whole lot of things where I was part of. I always tell people, and this is the joke that I tell them, I said, when I look at my life and I look at all the things I've been involved with, I said, all of these people who were like famous and all, and they got all of these MVP, and they got Grammys and Oscars and Emmys. They were lucky because they met me,
Well, you know what? And it's funny you said that. It's really funny because I was just sitting here thinking, man, I'm gonna use his name to elevate my status. You know what I mean?
So wasn't that lucky now?
No, I'm gonna tell people, you know what? Well, depending on where I go, I'm gonna say, hey, I know Charles. They're gonna say, oh, do you? I'm like, I know Charles. I'm not gonna say nothing else. I'm like, I know Charles. We're close. Then after I get my status elevated, I'll forget about you. No, I'm just saying. No, but I do have a question for you because I know, when we talk about the history of you, that you said that you had your accident and that's how you became paralyzed.
Right.
And so how does that work since you became paralyzed and you weren't in the service, whereas you can be involved with the paralyzed veterans like that? Because, normally if people hear paralyzed veterans, they naturally think that you were paralyzed during times in your service in the military. So how does that work?
Well, the paralyzed veterans, or the PVA, you don't have to be injured during service. You just have to be a paralyzed and a veteran.
And
so it's not about being injured during service. So what that does is if you were injured during service, then you're service connected, as quote unquote service connected. That means your health care, they give you a disability for so much percentage and all of this and that. I'm not service connected, and I know a lot of veterans who are not service connected as well. But I do have a pending case, and it's like this stuff happened from the 1982 accident. But at the end of the day, for me, I'm blessed. I'm here. I feel as good as I do now as I've been feeling in the last 30, 40 years. So for me, I have a general peace of mind, and I made a shirt that says, and I wrote it backwards. So if you look at it straight on, it's backwards. But if you look at it like taking a selfie, you can read it, and it says, "The peace of mind, M-I-N-E, helps keep my peace of mind, M-I-N-D."
Okay. So you're a philosopher too.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So that's
that. The peace of mind, M-I-N-E, helps keep the peace of mind, M-I-N-D.
Right. That's good. And the good thing about it is that, like you said, because you're not, even though you didn't get injured in the service, because I know I'm a big person. I'm for vets. And I think vets, especially the ones who were injured during service, and I think a lot of times we think of physical injuries, but when you go out there and you do the things you do, you become mentally injured too. And so I'm a big person who thinks that veterans, I don't care what the situation, you should never come home and have to be in the streets. You should never come home and have to beg for what you've earned. And so what you're doing, like you said, you want to make this bigger and all that. So even like when I see guys out in the streets in wheelchairs and what have you, you look at it, you think, what's their story? Everybody may look and feel different. And we've got this new word now. I even discussed this with my last guest, Harold Weber. He's a marriage and family licensed therapist. We've changed the word from homeless to unhoused. And it seemed like some kind of way that word unhoused takes away the true meaning and the true focus on the situation people are in. Unhoused, you can be unhoused, but you have an apartment or whatever. So we need to keep it what it is. These are people who are in need of homes and help, a lot of times mental help. And so what your program is going to do, you're going to go out and even like you said, when you're doing all these different chapters, how many chapters is it?
There's like chapters in almost every state. I think some of the smaller states, maybe, because they're so close, like, that maybe a chapter may cover two or three states or four or whatever, So I don't think every state has a chapter, but every state has like VAs, the chapters are very big. Some of them aren't as big. Like we have more than 600 members in our chapter, and California has 3 chapters. So
wow.
It's we got a lot of people here, and it's
Well, that's good. That's good. We're glad you're doing this work, and like you said earlier, you have plans to expand it and do all these things, and so that's good. I hope everything works out well for you. And just in case people don't know, what does VA stand for?
Veterans of America.
Veterans of America.
It's the Veterans Administration. So
right.
So the PVA is the Paralyzed Veterans of America. The VA is the Veterans Administration, and they're the ones that deal with all of the issues of
the legal stuff, and so
the health and all of that stuff.
So
yes, right.
The PVAs and the Veterans Administration are like a linked unit?
Yes, so the PVA, our paralyzed vet, the PVA office is a like a ward. We have a wing of the VA itself. So if somebody has a spinal cord injury, and you have to have one of the 3 things, it's expanded now. So it's spinal cord injury, ALS, or MS. If you have one of those 3 diagnoses, then you're eligible to be in the PVA.
Okay.
And so the PVA we have a ward, a spinal cord injury ward itself, within the Long Beach VA.
Okay.
And so so we our thing is to and what our organization is here to make our members' lives better. At the bottom, the bottom line is to have people being in our organization, they'll go out and they'll be able to, if you can go out and join, like enjoy your life without having to be stuck in all the time. And so and this is what the bottom line is: the PVA is here to help you your life be better and uplift and so we get together and try to make sure that if anybody's down and out, we want to make sure that doesn't happen as much as possible.
Good, like an outreach, and that's also can act like a antidepressant.
Actually, absolutely, and that's the whole thing. Some people, they kind of get down on veterans and say, oh, these guys, they're, hey, you don't know what it's like when you've been to war and you had machine guns and bullets and all of this and things like this that that impact your because they come home, and I made a video called "The Story Goes On."
Right.
And what the story goes on says that these guys go to war, and when they come back, whether they live or not, like the ones who die in war, the ones who come back, they're still dealing with it. So the story goes on. It's like, it doesn't just stop when you get home. You're like, oh, okay, well, I'm home. No, and I know people who have these psychological issues. These things are, it's not easy to get rid of that. And so my thing is I try to uplift and I've talked to people who don't have an injury, who have psychological issues.
Right.
And
that's sometimes
even worse. And when they hear me talk, then they're like, I don't know what I'm complaining for. It's like, yeah, you look at you got all your limbs, you're this, you got nice home, you got nice this, cars, this, that, but money doesn't bring happiness. That's my first thing. It's not about the money with me, and I don't care about titles and all of this. I'm in this to help people, and the music part of me is, that's why I'm wearing a musical shirt. I'm a musician, and the music for me is a way to reach out to people and, just express, because music is expression, and, so these things matter to me.
Okay, you know what? We're going to take our last commercial break, and on the other side of that break, we're going to wrap it up. Right. I'm the host of the E Factor, Cornelius, special guest, Charles.
Radio has openings for 1-hour talk shows. If you want to host a radio show, now is the time. Make KCAA your flagship station. Our rates are affordable and our services are second to none. We broadcast to a population of 5 million people. Plus, we stream and podcast on all major online audio and video systems. If you've been thinking about broadcasting a weekly radio program on Real Radio plus the internet, contact our CEO at 281-599-9800. 281-599-9800. You can Skype your show from your home to our Redlands, California studio, where our live producers and engineers are ready to work with you personally. A radio program on KCAA is the perfect work from home avocation in these stressful times. Just type kcaaradio.com into your browser to learn more about hosting a show on the best station in the nation, or call our CEO for details, 281-599-9800.
And now, the voices of KCAA with an exciting announcement.
Want to hear NBC News or KCAA anywhere you go? Well, now there's an app for that.
KCAA is celebrating 25 years and our silver anniversary with a brand new app.
The new KCAA app is now available on your smart device, cell phone, in your car, or any place.
Just search KCAA on Google Play or in the Apple Store.
One touch and you can listen on your car radio, Bluetooth device, Android Auto, or Apple CarPlay.
Catch the KCAA buzz in your earbuds or on the streets, celebrating 25 years of talk, news, and excellence with our new KCAA app.
Just do it and download it.
KCAA, celebrating 25 years.
All right. Welcome back to the E Factor Radio Show and our special guest, Charles. Well, you know what, Charles? It's been really good having you here. And I hope to have you on the show again. Like I say, veterans and anything to do with veterans is really important to me and my company, you know, the Renaissance Man School of Etiquette, and just all the things I do. Because like I said, I value them, and I think no matter what, they should always be appreciated and taken care of. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say my little piece, then I'm gonna let you give information on how they can contact you, and then I'm gonna let you close it out. So anybody need anything for the Renaissance Man School of Life Skill and Etiquette, you can reach me at info@therenaissanceman.es, telephone number 951-238-4720. Charles, take us out.
Okay, so in order to, if you want to get in touch with me through the PVA, you can, my email is cwhitehead@pvacc.org, or you can send us an email at info@pvacc.org, or you can call me at 213, and I get my number out because I use my number is published, 213-500-0516, and we can talk, because I'm always open to talking to anyone, and my number has been published I'm not one of those people that hides behind anything. So
okay, so when Clara calls you, remember you told her you can call me at any time at night.
You gotta have okay.
All right.
Whoa,
okay, you know what?
All right.
Yeah, Clara, and she'd be like, oh. You'd be like, what? Okay, but you gave her the invitation. I'm a witness, Clara, calling. And before, as we close out, now we're gonna let you close out by letting us know what's your motto in life.
Keep your head up and refuse to lose, because life is good.
Life is good. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the show. We will be back in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but we will be back. Cornelius with the E Factor Radio Show. Special guest Charles.
All right, thanks,
you.
Cornelius. I appreciate it.
Right on. We'll see you again. You will definitely be back.
All right.
Waiting for the break of day, searching for something to say, flashing lights against the sky, giving up, I close my eyes.
Thank you, Inland Empire, for listening to KCAA Radio.
I always hear from our clients